Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Tim Sohn with Sohn Social Media Solutions for our weekly show that yet still has to have a name. If you guys have any suggestions for the name of this show, we talk about all things marketing, whether it's digital, traditional, whatever. Let us know down in the comments. But I'm here with my co-host, Jim. Take it away.
Yes. Hey, guys, it's Jim Fuse of Fusion Marketing, and excited to be back for my wedding. And see, I've got my ring, so it's official. And so we had a great time in the mountains of Georgia, and fortunately, Michael missed us, so it didn't affect us at all. And so it's all good. So I work. I'm a social media consultant, digital marketing consultant. I guess I'm really changing what I consider what we do. Excited to have Blanca on, and we were talking a little bit earlier. Blanca, I actually have, my mother is from Peru, so have a little bit of that Spanish background as well. So so tell us about yourself.
Sorry, Jim. I think this is our first international broadcast.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
No worries. So a little bit about myself. It's our international podcast. I actually just moved to Lisbon, Portugal. I work for SocialDraft, for a social media dashboard, so that you can manage pretty much everything for your social media. And I'm pretty much a social media addict. Although lately I've really just been gravitating towards Instagram. For me, I get the most feedback. I drive the most traffic. We actually get the most amount of customers for SocialDraft through Instagram, which you would think is not really, you would think LinkedIn is a professional network, Facebook, but Instagram just really allows you to engage. On Facebook, you either have to wait or you have to advertise. On Twitter, you have to broadcast. But I really think that Instagram, because you can DM, you can comment, it just opens up your avenues to really directly talk to your audience or to your customers. So for us, I've noticed that it's a really good sales outlet. And today I'm hoping to give people tips and to kind of help everyone, because I know engagement is definitely an issue. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's great. Thank you so much for being on. And we have Jim back. I thought we lost you, Jim.
No, I figured out what happened. I'm playing around with this. There we go. Got the bar off. I was trying to take the bar off so we could see everybody's full faces.
So before we get started here, let's encourage everybody to hit the share button or tag your friends down in the comments and let them know that we're sharing this valuable information about Instagram with Blanca here today. And also make sure to leave any comments down in the questions for her or us, and we'd all be happy to answer them.
Awesome.
So Blanca, what do you see right now as the changes in Instagram that you think have made it such a, I guess, growing, powerful platform? I mean, it really has. I would almost say it's the fastest growing platform right now, even though it's owned by Facebook. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
So, I mean, it's certainly grown a lot. I think in 2012, they were at like 32 million users, and now they're at 1 billion. So, I mean, it's certainly the fastest growing. And I think what really drove that is, in the beginning, was its simplicity. In the beginning, it was pretty like one functional, like you posted a picture, people liked and commented. And it was just so easy and simple. Whereas, for example, Snapchat, I'm not young, I'm not old, I'm kind of like right in that in-between age group. I'm gonna tell you guys, I got into Snapchat and it was literally what I expected to get. And it was just one of those things where, being a little bit older, not completely young, I didn't want to get that type of content. There's definitely an audience for Snapchat. I was not it. And I think for a lot of businesses that are out there, a lot of services, yes, it's great to have that millennial, that young audience. But again, if you're looking for someone that's going to make a purchase, someone that's going to convert, I feel that Instagram is definitely ripe and ready for that. I do think that the way they've incorporated all of these new features, they've made it very simple to understand. If I give my mother Snapchat, she would have no idea what to do with it. But she understands Instagram. She understands Facebook. And I think it's the ease of use that makes it so great. And when it comes to the difference between Facebook and Instagram, for me personally, I feel that it's lifestyles and interest driven. So for example, I don't follow all of my friends on Instagram. Instagram is where I go to look for things about travel. Instagram is where I go to find out things about social media. I'm not really there to look at their baby pictures. If I want to look at baby pictures, if I want to look at, their trips to Bahama, their honeymoon, I go to Facebook for that. For me, really, Instagram is interest-based, and because it's interest-based, I think every business should be on there because I'm looking for my interest and I want to give you what I have to sell or what I have, I want to tell you, I want you to do this with my product, with my service, and the people are there and they're waiting for it.
Yeah, I know, Blanca, a lot of the people I run into, which are especially small business owners, they're really getting frustrated with Facebook because it's so complicated, and with all the, I don't know if you want to call them scandals or, and also the breaches and things like that. I know there's definitely a big interest in focusing more on Instagram, which is kind of funny because Instagram is also owned by Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is crazy. But I think along the lines of what you said with the scandals that are going on, we've already seen that Facebook is starting to close in on their API and they're starting to make things a lot more restrictive. And again, on Instagram, you don't have all those restrictions. You can still contact people, you can still DM people, you can still talk to each other as a business. Whereas Facebook right now, me as a Facebook page, I can't go and talk to the people that are going to be my customer. It has to be either literally me or one of my community managers that goes out there and messages another page and says, hey, maybe we can do business together. But I couldn't go to Tim. I couldn't go to Jim directly as a business. On Instagram, that's not the case. On Instagram, as long as you're being kind of honest and as long as you're really being true, you can talk to someone as a business page. Like SocialDraft will go out there and, find community managers and make a true comment on one of their pages, and you're talking to another person. And as long as you build that rapport and you build a real relationship, you can build a business from Instagram.
Blanca, you mentioned that you look for things specifically when you're on Instagram. So I'm assuming that you're using hashtags to do that. What would be your advice to small business owners or even just users that are looking for things in that regards?
Okay, so hashtags are incredibly important. The thing with Instagram that a lot of people get wrong is they think if I build it, they will come. That cannot be further from the truth. I look at Instagram as its own Google. For me, it's a search engine. So when I go on there, if I just post a picture and I don't have any hashtags, no one is going to find me. So there's three ways really to be found on Instagram: hashtags, engagement, and ads. If you do all three, you're going to do incredibly well. So with hashtags, the problem is I see a lot of businesses using those huge hashtags. So for example, a restaurant in New York City will use like Zagat New York or Yelp New York or Yelp as a hashtag. The problem with that is there's probably like 3 million posts that are tagged Yelp, for example. You might want to include that hashtag. It's not really going to hurt you, but you can be smarter about the hashtag use. So instead of that, if I was, for example, a restaurant on the Upper West Side, I might tag my photo with, UWS for Upper West Side, or I might tag it, New York City, New York. And I would try to look for hashtags that are really going to drive the audience that's local, because it doesn't make sense for you to tag your post Zagat because you get this overly wide audience. So when you're kind of doing the research for your hashtags, if particularly local businesses, be smart about who are the people that are going to come into my business. If you're a hairdresser, sure, you can put up, I think it's called bailage. I'm not really a hairdresser kind of gal, but you can put in your products and you can put in your services. But if you're a local business, you got to think about local hashtags. Now it's a little bit different if you're like a brand. If you're, say, a travel blogger. If you're a travel blogger, you're still going to use locations because you're talking about a particular place, but you're going to use different things because you might want to look for people that are interested in cruises. You might want to look for people who are interested in, say, Departures magazine. So you have to really think about who is my audience, what are they interested in, and what are the accounts that they're following using as hashtags. And do a little bit of that for research to actually get the people who are going to convert to go on your page. Like for like, follow for follow, forget about that. To me, you can't go for vanity metrics. You can have 1 million followers on Instagram. If they're not converting, you're wasting your time. The game is conversions. And if you can't get people to convert, you shouldn't even be on here.
And I think that's an outstanding point, Blanca. I mean, I think you hit it on the head. So many people are so consumed with how many likes and follows they have, but it doesn't matter if nobody's engaging on your post, no matter what platform it is.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of those, if you want to call it false metrics. I mean, I always like to see, are people, if it's Facebook, are they sharing the post? Then you're on to something. And even in Instagram, things can be shared if you're using some of the tools that are available. Along those lines, with going back to the hashtags, what do you think that there's a good number to use at a minimum? I mean, I've heard some people, you'd have as many as 30. I've had some people say 15. I mean, what are your thoughts there?
So I always tell people, don't ever go by what someone says online, and don't ever go by a blog post, because it's going to be different for everyone. I use all 30. I love SEO. Like, I'm a big dork about SEO. So for me, again, I don't look at Instagram really as a social network. I look at it as a place to be discovered. So for me, if Instagram gives me 30 hashtags that I can play with, I'm going to use them all. And I'm going to be very careful about how I use them and what I select. So I'm a go for the whole thing kind of gal.
Okay. And along those same lines, I personally, and I've also follow Jen Herman at Jen's Trends and Sue B. Zimmerman. I've seen some people will make a post and then they'll put their hashtags as the comments. And I'm not a big fan of that. I think it needs to be part of that initial post. What are your thoughts on that?
I've tested both out. I use mine in my comments just because it keeps a little bit cleaner for me. I haven't noticed much of a difference in that. But, again, it's one of those things I tell everyone, what works for me may not necessarily work for you. So I always tell people, do A/B split test. So maybe today's post, you try it out with the hashtags in your write-up, and tomorrow you try it in your comments and you see if there's a difference. And that's really what everyone needs to understand. Like, when people ask me, what's the best posting time? Mine is going to be different from yours. I'm in Lisbon, Portugal. So my audience is mostly New York, and then Portugal and Paris and Colombia, because, that's where my friends are at. That's where my audience is at. But, your audience, if you're, say, a hair salon in Beverly Hills, is going to be completely different from mine. So you really got to cater everything to your account. And I say testing is the way to do it.
Right.
Those are
Tim,
really
you
great.
had a question?
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit now, Blanca, about, so there's the regular Instagram posts, and then there's Instagram stories and IGTV. So let's talk a little bit, I guess. Let's, talk a little bit about the differences. How many times should a business be using these things? Should all businesses be using all three? I know it's not a loaded question at all.
No, not at all. So the core of my Instagram strategy is my posts. If you can post daily, I think it's great. Some brands can post 5 times a day. I don't think that's necessary. Number one, because a small business doesn't have the budget necessarily to have someone on staff to be doing that. Or I always think of restaurants. You come in, your bartender calls out, all of a sudden you're bartending. You forget to post to Instagram. So I actually recommend to businesses that they hire a social media management firm, because number one, they know what they're doing. They have the time to analyze, and they'll take the stress off of you so you can go back to managing your business. But back to what you were asking, I think you should try to post on a steady schedule, because your audience should be used to kind of knowing when your post will come out. So for example, there's actually a restaurant near me, and every day at 11 o'clock, they post their specials for the day. And I actually like that restaurant. So every single day, I check it out to see what they have and decide if I want to go eat there or not. I know that they're going to post at that time, and I know that they're going to give me the information that I'm looking for. And that's the whole thing. You want to make sure that your branding is continuous. So on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, everything needs to kind of flow together so that your brand is right. And then you shouldn't post haphazardly, because if you post at like 3 a.m. and then you post at 5 p.m. and then another day at 8 p.m., your audience doesn't know when to expect your post to come out. So establish a rhythm. If you can't post daily, post every other day. If you really can't post every other day, post every few days, but just establish a rhythm, because number one, habit is great when it comes to social media. If you know, I always post on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You're going to start remembering. It becomes habit. So it keeps you kind of going. And then your audience also understands, I know when to expect their posts to come out. So that would be posts. Stories, I love them. I actually really enjoy doing stories. And I think they're really good for building your brand and for reaching out to people. And the reason I say that is because, for example, I put out a story and my followers will send me back a video, which I think is so much fun. And that's something that I think customers and businesses can do. Reverse engineer Instagram search. So yes, put out the content, but don't wait for people to come to you. So I would say for those same local businesses, when people around their area put out stories, get out there and engage them and write them back and say like, hey, I loved your stuff, start a conversation. But again, with stories, you can do them daily if you have the time. But I think most small businesses just don't have the time. So create a rhythm. So maybe you're doing a regular post on one day, and you're doing a story the next day. There are different types of posts, and we'll give you different kind of opportunity. You know what I mean? And as for IGTV, I think it's a product that's not yet where it needs to be. It's got tons of potential, but I don't know. For me, whenever I go to watch Netflix or whenever I go to watch YouTube, I automatically like flip my phone or my iPad because I still enjoy the landscape kind of view for like long-term watching. Maybe a slightly younger audience, maybe more comfortable with portrait. But I've gotten used to portrait through stories. So I think Instagram was very smart about doing stories and then going into IGTV. I would say the one thing that's really good about IGTV is that you can add a link in your description. So Instagram has been really, really stingy about letting us put links anywhere. And I think that is such a valuable thing because granted, it's like when you run a Facebook contest, the more stipulations you put on it, the harder it is for people to convert. So I go on Instagram, I'm on my feed, and then I have to click the little TV to go to Instagram TV unless I'm using the app. And then I'm automatically in suggestions for me. And then I've got to go over to recommended and then to my following. So if I eventually get to the people that I'm following, which is what I use it for, you want to make it easy for them. So if they've gone through that whole entire process of clicking on TV, clicking on the people they're following, watching your video, and they click through to your website, that person is vetted and that person can be converted. So for me, it's one of those things that, yes, it is a much harder conversion, but if you can get people to do that, those are the people that are going to convert, and you can get analytics from your IGTV. So it's one of those things that I think everyone neglects their analytics. And if you just go in and see like, okay, who looked at my video? How do I engage them tomorrow so I can make sure they convert? I think that is where the gold mine is that they need to look at analytics and they need to get out there and engage.
Well, and to that point, Blanca, to get the analytics, people have to create that business Instagram account. Mm-hmm. And of course, the flip side of that is in order to do that, they have to have a Facebook business page. Yep. Doesn't mean they have to use their Facebook business page all the time, but they have to have it. Have you, with any of your clients, one, are you helping them run ads? And two, have any of them been using the shop feature?
So because we're a platform, we don't have ads yet. Okay. But I do think that if you're running an online shop, you should absolutely have the shop feature available on Instagram because it just makes sense. They're giving you the tools. Why wouldn't you use them? I'm 100%. If the tools are given to me, I'm going to use them. So.
Yeah, that's all. And what's your advice to people as far as engagement goes? What do you think? Where are people falling short and taking advantage? Because I've heard a lot of great things about using Instagram engagement as a way to build a know, like, and trust with folks.
Absolutely. So I'm going to give you my formula. So my personal account, I just do for travel, and it's basically for me to test things out. So my account is the one where I do all the crazy stuff to see what works and what doesn't work. So The first thing is engage on a daily basis. So once I post, the next day, every single person that commented on my post, I will take an hour while I'm in the gym and I will literally go back and reply to every single one of those people, and I will like on another post of theirs. All of a sudden, they feel I'm committed to them and they like that. The second thing is I'm a big believer in scheduling my posts because I will forget. I'm a busy person. Between SocialDraft and my personal blog and my dog and the husband and my mother and all the stuff that I do, I would forget to do things. So I tell everyone for social media, schedule out your posts so that you don't forget. Along the same note, right before my post is going to come out, maybe 10 minutes before, I grind. And this is what I mean by grinding. I will go on and I already know what hashtags I'm going to use. So for example, if I'm posting about Lisbon, I'm going to look for the hashtag Lisbon. I'm going to look at the top posts that are there, and I'm going to click on that post, and I'm going to look at the last 5 people that engaged that post. I'm clicking through, I'm engaging those people that like the post. I go back, I do it again with the next top image. And I will do that for a good 10 minutes or so. Why? Those people are immediately online. They like content that's similar or relevant to my content, and they're most likely to get curious and click over to my profile. So I usually do that 10 minutes before I post and 10 minutes after posting. And so the Instagram algorithm is a strange thing for me. When I go on Instagram, it shows me content from the people whose content I have liked. So it's not about hashtags. It's not about anything like that. When I go on, it literally says, Blanca liked Tim's post yesterday. So she's interested in Tim. I'm going to show her his posts. That's completely different than when you go on and you search by hashtags. Hashtag actually has to do with the speed of likes. So if your post goes on, and this is something that I do for my posts to see how successful I'm being, if I can get myself about 5 posts per minute, I know that post is going to get to about 700 to 1,000 likes. If I only have 60 likes in 1 hour, I know that post is horrible and I'm really going to have to spend extra time engaging to get it to where it needs to be. So if you can get the speed of likes on your post right as you post, Instagram's going to push you up in the hashtag feed. So you got to consider 2 different things about engagement, which is number 1, people who follow you will be showing your posts if they're engaging you. How do you get them to engage it? You engage them. So it's really not if you build it, they would come. You have to go out there and get it. So for both hashtag for the regular feed and for your followers feed, you need to make sure that you're out there and you're engaging on both ends.
Wow, that's some great stuff. I mean, that was just stuff I had never thought about. I mean, thank you, Blanca. That's just some really great tips there.
It takes time. That's the only thing. It takes time and it's tedious. But as long as you save time on other things, so for example, if you save time by scheduling your post, if you do all those things, it'll make it easier. And you don't need to spend an hour. If you spend 10 minutes before and 10 minutes after, you're going to see a difference.
Yeah, for those of you who are just tuning in, I'm Tim Sohn with Sohn Social Media Solutions, and I'm here with Jim Fuse of Fusion Marketing, and we're here with Blanca. Say your last name, Blanca.
It's Valbuena.
Thank you. And we're talking about Instagram marketing and how to increase your engagement on Instagram. So Blanca, could you talk a little bit in terms of Instagram advertising? When does it most make sense to use Instagram advertising for a business?
So I'm actually a big fan of advertising because if you have good targeting options, like Twitter does not have good targeting options. I hate advertising on there. Facebook had great advertising options, which are going away right now. But I still think that Instagram has great advertising options. And for example, one reason someone might want to advertise, when you talk about Instagram TV, IGTV, if you don't have 10,000 followers, there are certain things that you can't do. So you can't post a 60-minute video unless you have 10,000 followers or unless you have the check mark. So if you're like me and you're at 8,000 and you want to be able to post a longer video, you might want to do that. So there are little things that advertising are really good for. But they have great things with call to action. So for example, if I ran a clothing shop, I would absolutely do ads because I can definitely see conversions happening through the shop now button. So it's one of those things that if you have something that can be directly purchased, I would say 100% advertise because the money will come back to you as long as you spend the time to plan out your strategy.
Excellent. Blanca, tell us a little bit more about SocialDraft, and can people give that a try? And if you'd like to, please leave the link in the comments if people want to check it out.
All right, I will absolutely do that. So we actually started SocialDraft because we couldn't find a good scheduling solution. And we were doing social media and we found out we were spending so much money on like 7 different tools. So we decided to put them all together. And SocialDraft works with Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest. You can schedule, you can pull reports, you can look for influencers. There's a bunch of really cool stuff you can do. And for anyone that's interested, if you want to get a 30% discount, we have a couple of different plans. You can either go monthly and cancel whenever you want, or you can do quarterly and you get a discount, or you can do annually and you can get a bigger discount. So if you want to try us out, use code GIMME30, and I'll write that down on the comments. And you get either 30% off your first month, 30% off your first quarter, or 30% off the whole year. So that's it.
Awesome.
That sounds really great. Very good. Yay. Blanca, could you just talk a little bit? You were saying how you couldn't find a social media schedule that was satisfactory to you. What really makes SocialDraft stand out from other players that have somewhat similar solutions?
So I actually, believe it or not, I went to school for art history. So I know everyone poo-poos my major, but I would still do it over again. I loved it. And I'm a very visual person. And when I was using schedulers, everything was really small and hard to see. We're based on a calendar. Everything's color-coded. So it's one of those things that if I want to go on, I know exactly what my Facebook posts are. I know which are my Instagram posts. And basically, I just wanted it to be easy to use. But we're a little different because we're really built kind of for teams. So you can set your account owner, which has power over everything. And then you can have a manager. And the manager can't do any of the back end stuff, but they can add new users. They can add new social networks. They can approve content. If you're a company that has interns and you don't yet trust them to actually push out content, you can make it so their content won't go out unless you approve. And if you have clients that are like micromanagers, you can give your clients access to the dashboard, but they can't edit anything. They can't delete anything. They can't change anything. They can't reschedule. The only thing they can do is like leave you a note saying, I don't really love the color for this post. Can you change it? So, we were really thinking because, funny enough, when we were doing social media, we would send like Excel sheets back and forth on email to clients. And I wanted to pull my hair out of my head. So we just wanted an easier solution so people could collaborate on social media. So it's easy to use and it's very collaborative.
That sounds really cool. I mean, I definitely have to check that out. Blanca, what's a good way for people to reach you? Well, one, obviously on Instagram. What would be the best place for people to follow you, or even SocialDraft, so they can start to get a feel for some of the things you were talking about?
So we are everywhere on social media. I am Blanca Val, V-A-L, or Blanca Valbuena. My last name is just too damn long, so eventually I just started cutting it short. So it's a Blanca Val or SocialDraft on social media, and we're really responsive. And if anyone has questions on SocialDraft, they can just go to the site, and we have live support from 9 to 5 every day. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Tim, did you have any other questions? No, I'm good. We really appreciate you being on, Blanca. I know we've bumped into each other in different social media circles online, so it's nice to have you here.
It's actually nice to actually talk to you. It's really cool.
Yeah, BeLive's a great program, for those folks out there trying to figure out how to get moving in Facebook Live. And I think to some of your points, Blanca, video has become such a big part of the social circle, and especially I think Instagram is attempting to take advantage of that. And I think to your point earlier about doing Instagram stories, whether it's doing a short live video, I mean, it gets that attention, and I've actually seen where it seems like that gets sometimes more reaction than even the posts themselves, especially if you can be consistent. But yeah, you've given us some great information for those folks that didn't get a chance to watch this live. I mean, definitely leave some comments if you have questions, or and share this out with your networks. And we'd love to have you on again sometime, and maybe we could talk about some of the other platforms that you might like. Do you have any other favorites besides Instagram?
Believe it or not, I know people poo-poo Twitter, and I know I just poo-pooed their ads. But I think Twitter is still a really valid social network if you know how to use it properly. It's one of those things, like, I know, Tim, I know you're on there, and I think that's where we met. And you can still make connections, and you can still do a lot of things through Twitter if you use it right. If you're just standing in a soapbox, you're not getting anything out of it. Yeah.
Twitter's my favorite platform, and we'll have to make sure we connect out there, Blanca. In fact, I'm a greeter on Twitter Smarter tomorrow at 1:00 with Madeline Scalar. So very, very active with Twitter chat. So I agree with you. And it would be nice, especially with Instagram, to see a way where maybe it could be more like live and collaborative, as opposed to it's still somewhat Facebooky, and as far as going back and forth.
I think that'll come soon enough. Now that they're playing out with the IGTV, and now that they want to start competing with YouTube, we're going to start seeing some really interesting stuff coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Tim, I'm going to let you take it from here.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm Tim Sohn with Sohn Social Media Solutions. We help businesses through social media management, social media tradings, lead generating websites, SEO, and public relations. And I'll take it away. Oh, and you can find me on Facebook. Search me for Sohn Social Media Solutions, on Twitter at Sohn Social Media, LinkedIn, etc. Okay, go Jim. Sorry.
Thanks. And I'm Jim Fuse of Fusion Marketing, FUHSION. And you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and also Instagram as well. And I would say my favorites right now in order would be, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and then Facebook. But, Facebook's still very important. And we appreciate everybody being here. Blanca has been a great guest. Thank you so much for joining us in our first international broadcast. So we're now internationally famous. And we look forward to seeing everybody next week. And if there's things you'd like to see us explore, or guests you'd like us to bring on, leave a comment and let us know. And we're also looking for ideas of what to name this show. So maybe we'll have to do an Instagram contest or something.
Yeah, and also leave in the comments, leave a link to your Instagram account to anybody watching either live or on the replay. That would be really great, so we could all connect.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Well, thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.